and then moved into a more logistical perspective where I support a wide range of all the things we do in public health. And first and foremost, on top of everyone's mind is all the work that's happening around the response to COVID and the impact that that has had on our communities. So I think this morning I'm here, I'm happy to take questions, but I want to preface all of this with my degree is in public health policy is what I have my master's in. I am not a clinician or a doctor or an epidemiologist, but I am somebody who takes all the brilliant things that they say and then figures out how to translate that and makes that digestible for everyday people. And also help set up the infrastructure that they all work off of, particularly in this situation around the IT infrastructure and what that looks like and why that's important, I'll get to shortly. So what I wanted to do today was just share with you resources, and some of these you may already be very well versed in clicking on these websites and going to them for resources, and maybe some of them will be new for you. But I thought what I'd start with is a really high level overview of one of my most favorite websites and resources for communities. And it is not COVID specific. So I'm gonna start big and then I'll work my way down to some COVID specific resources that are available. I'm gonna try to share my screen. This is new for all of us, right? So even for me, I'm like, ah. Okay, can I share my screen? I think I can, right, Liz? I don't want a whiteboard. Oh, hang on a second. Let's see if this works. Yes. Oh no, it's not working. Huh. Nope. All right, well, I might not be able to share my screen.
We also accept charades and interpretive dance. So if it doesn't work out, there are other options.
Well, let's see. That could be fun. Okay, well, I might have to just reference some resources for you. And Liz put 3 in the chat box already. Those are 3 resources that are really great for COVID. But the one that I wanted to start with is a generic one referred to as Place Matters Oregon. And I really, really encourage you as business owners and business people in this beautiful community of Lake Oswego that we all love so much to check this site out, because it really there's so many different resources that really point out what we can all do together to become more healthy. And there are examples of places all over the state. And Lake Oswego is prime in this, right? We are so well versed at looking at the entire generation from birth all the way to, you know, very, very, very senior, right? And all the lived experience that happens between that. And this resource really calls out and celebrates those stories and also gives great ideas on what we can also do more of. Oh, yay, Liz, thank you so much. That is wonderful. Liz saved the day. So it walks you through a lot of different perspectives. There's a whole section on schools and healthy schools and the whole child concept, which is a lot of the work that Liz and myself and other board members are working on in the Lake Oswego School District. It has a lot about retailers and businesses and what they can do to help support a vibrant and active community, which we love so much in Lake Oswego. It talks about parks and places where we can recreate and hang out and socialize. And in these times, and I should say, and even in these times, how we can do that. And then what we eat and where we get our food from and how we commune together around food and socialize. And then certainly what it means to kind of age in place. There's a lot of stuff around aging in place and the supports that are necessary to do that. And we all have an opportunity to tap into this. Whatever we believe, wherever we're at on the spectrum, there's something in this for everybody to really think about how we can come together and really promote a vibrant, healthy community. So it's a great resource. I really, really encourage people checking it out. And Jean, I think it was you I had heard talked about how the Lions had donated resources to Gales Creek, the camp for children with diabetes. Lots of great stuff around youth through the ages on asthma and diabetes and heart disease and all the interplays that make it can make it challenging to live our best lives. So great resource for you. But moving on to what I think you guys are most interested in maybe talking about and learning a little bit about is the resources around COVID and the very real impact that this is having on our communities, on us as people, and on our businesses, the things that keep us moving, and the frustration that this virus is putting on all of us. And it's hard, it's emotionally hard. And so I think we really have to start with, this sucks. It's just, it is bad, right? So we can start by owning that, and then we can think about what's possible and what we can do. And so there's a lot of reopening guidance, but if we go to, Liz, the very first website that I provided you is the one that says OHA 2689 reopening guidance. And if Liz is able to pull this up, maybe I can get a thumbs up or thumbs down if this is something people have seen before. Yes, no, maybe have seen it. So what this resource does in Oregon is kind of just, this is the quick view of here's what's open at what phase, and kind of what the resources are going to be available, right? So this is really, really, really high level. And if you go up to the top, Liz, if you go all the way up and you click here to access all the guidance documents, this is going to give you all as business owners the specifics on where your business may fit or the service you provide may fit, and then what those guidances are. And many of you have been open. Some of you are waiting to become open. This is where you may be familiar with the resources. And I will say they do update with some frequency as things kind of evolve and as the science evolves. And one of the things that I want to encourage you, and I'm not afraid to have people just reach out to me directly. My employee, who is amazing, she's just one of the most amazing people. She actually lives in Lake Oswego. She's a recent resident of Lake Oswego. This is her job. Her job is to write these, to work with the governor's office, to work with all the scientists and the doctors and all the very brilliant people, turn it into everyday language, and to get these posted. And it is a huge feat. But if you ever have questions or want some more clarity, I have no problem with people reaching out, and I'll put my work email address in the chat box, because sometimes what seems like it should be really obvious, it just isn't. I actually think sometimes it can be more confusing when we have to put pen to paper versus just talking about it. So that is another really important resource for all of you. I'm writing my email address in the chat box now. And you can seriously feel free to connect and reach out if you have questions. So then the last resource, in addition to all the guidance that being somebody who lives in Lake Oswego and loves Lake Oswego so much, I know how much the people care and are wanting to know where to offer help, where to send people who need help and supports. And that's the last link that I provided. So this is Safe and Strong Together. This was built with community members from all over the state, multiple languages, and really is there when you think about you know, if you're diagnosed with COVID and you have to isolate, or the people around you have to go into quarantine, depending on where you are at in the spectrum of resources, missing 2 weeks of life might be really detrimental, not just from a mental health perspective, but from a how do I get food for my family? How do I make money and make sure that as we're getting into really cold weather, right? It's supposed to be 28 degrees, as low as 28 degrees this week. How do I make sure my kids have the jackets that they need? This was built to give direct links and resources to people of all walks of life with all lived experiences in the state, a place to go. And Oregon has provided funding for almost 200 community-based organizations in every single county, touching all of our communities, that are able to provide these resources, culturally and linguistically specific resources for families, and often with people who don't trust government. So this is really that bridge to help build back some of that trust and to give people a lifeline so that they're just not hung out to dry as they are needing to quarantine around COVID. And the last thing, which I have not, I'm going to cut and paste it into the chat box. The last link that I really, really want people to see is the link that explains contact tracing. Are people familiar with contact tracing? Yes? No, mostly? Okay. This is one of the most important public health tools that we have available to us. And one of the things that we're seeing in our data as we're talking to folks is that people are really struggling answering these phone calls. And the reason why that is so difficult in trying to get a handle on this disease is that if we can talk to them and keep them from going out and about and spreading it, wrapping services around them to take care of them and their families when they're in this situation, we can slow the spread significantly. So this tool needs to really be optimized. And the more trusted leaders, and you are all trusted leaders in our community, the more of you who can really say, this is a good thing. We take very seriously protecting people's data. It is of utmost importance. These are private conversations. They are not repeated. The only thing they do is to say, hey, you've been exposed, you've been in contact with somebody. You need to do these things. Depending on the exposure level and the amount, is going to dictate, you know, stay home, take care of yourself for X many days. If you see symptoms, go in and get tested. And then they check every single day until they meet that clear mark. And then once they meet the clear mark, hopefully with no disease, you know, it's like, good, go about your business. But when the more we can get that handled and keep people isolated or in quarantine, we will have a significant impact on slowing the spread of this disease. And then you layer that with all the things we know what to do, right? Wear a mask, wash your hands, watch your distance. Those are still really, really important, really, really important. And this just adds a layer of extreme protections. So I share that with you because you're all in a place where you can also share that and where you're trusted. So those are a bit of the resources I have. I'm happy to take questions. I'm sure that's probably more important to all of you. If you have any burning questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I'll stop chatting right now.
Thank you very much, Kirsten, for such an informative talk. Does anybody have any questions to specific? Diane?
Yes, I know that we're doing contact tracing, which is an absolutely essential thing to be doing, but also the way COVID seems to be spreading at times is clusters that may have started way back when and moved forward. Are we doing anything in that very difficult arena of tracing backwards and sideways, several layers?
Oh yeah.
To find these little, not so little pockets that all of a sudden something comes from that nobody would have dreamed otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are hundreds and hundreds of people, and actually we're doing some amazing work with the universities, are really helping us quite a bit with contact tracing and case investigation, which is what you're talking about, Diane. And I'm so sorry, I referred to you as Jean earlier, and that's terrible. I meant Diane. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so it's combined. So it's contact tracing, and then it's case investigation, which is exactly to your point. How do you go all the way back to the source? And one of the measures, if you're following the COVID measures, which on the links that you've been given, you can, there's a place where you can hit and see COVID measures and what's happening. One of the measures that we track, because it does matter, is how many of those cases can we get to the source. So the higher percentage of cases that we can source and link to something, the better. And what we want is that small number that we have no idea where it comes from. We want that to be really small. When that's big, that means we have rampant, uncontrolled community spread. So again, the more we know about the source and where it comes from, the more we can isolate. And that's traditional communicable disease 101. When you think about all the other communicable diseases that are in the world, that's exactly how we do it. We find them. You may recall in 2019, there was this, what was considered a big measles outbreak in Clark County and Multnomah County. We had a major issue. The Surgeon General came out. It was a big deal. We were driving him all over to go and talk to people. But we were able to get that contained and isolated because we could source it. And what was different about COVID was we couldn't trace it to something. And so that community spread and that not knowing, the bigger and higher that is, the more problematic things are. So that's why contact tracing is so important, because then it helps us get to that case investigation and that source.
Kirsten, thank you so much for such a great answer. And if anybody else has questions for Kirsten, I'm going to ask you to reach out to her via the emails she so graciously provided. Kirsten, thank you very much for all of those resources and for making yourself available to our community. That was absolutely awesome. You also provided us with the second most popular phrase heard during COVID, and that is Liz saved the day, which is only superseded by you're on mute. So thank you very much for that. And with that, Liz, I know you've got some chamber announcements before we get to introducing our new people.
I just have a couple of announcements. In line with Kirsten's presentation, I know we've got a little bit of feedback about the cover of the guide to Lake Oswego. The photo was taken in advance of the governor's orders for everyone wearing masks, and it was one of our few professional photographs that we had that would fit on the front cover. So the chamber is not encouraging people to go without masks. We're just looking back to fonder times when we had a choice to wear masks or not, and the chamber is completely behind wearing masks in every place, and want you to know that. Would love to know from any of you who are seeing new businesses in Lake Oswego. They are popping up, and we are very happy to see that, because new business is a whole lot something to celebrate instead of businesses closing. And then finally, I would like to hear from you if you are interested in pursuing in-person networking, smaller groups under 25. We have had some inquiries, and we are not exactly sure how well we can do this safely, or if you've been in another group where it's been safe, but would like to hear from you on what your thoughts are. And thank you. Oh, one other thing, in downtown Lake Oswego on Sunday, there will be a gathering at Rossman Park. It's Moms United for Black Lives, and just want folks to know there will be more activity in downtown Lake Oswego, probably from 11 to 1 p.m. or so.
Thank you very much for the announcements, Liz. I appreciate that. And then we have at least 4 new people on the call that we haven't had before. So I'll just invite you to introduce yourself in the order you're showing up on my screen. So Stephanie, will you come off mute and let us know who you are and where you're from and what you hope to get from the chamber?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Torres de los Santos, and I'm the new sales and marketing manager over at Oswego Place Assisted Living off of Pilkington. And for those of you who don't know about us, we're a sweet little assisted living community, very cozy and beautiful suites. And we do have availability. So we welcome any referrals. I come from the hospitality world, and which of course is no longer active at this moment in time. I was at the Oregon Convention Center in sales before coming here, and yeah, really happy to be in the community. I actually live in far southwest, right on the border of Lake Oswego. So we're here, we spend a lot of time in Lake Oswego, and yeah, looking to get connected in the community. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Miko, would you come off mute and introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Miko Santos. I'm an attorney there at Buckley Law in Lake Oswego. So I'm also one of the newly appointed board members for the Lake Oswego Chamber. Very excited to be part of the chamber. And then, yeah, just kind of being part of this community and being more involved. And just for the record, I have been on other previous Friday networkings before, just for that.
Fantastic. We just want to make certain you had a chance to introduce yourself and get your name and face out to this group as we're connecting everybody. Todd, is it Todd Davidson?
Yeah, Todd Davidson. Sorry, I need to update my name on my Zoom label. But anyway, I've been in sales for the past 28 years. I just recently moved over to CNG Financial and work with people to review their housing goals and give them several options to, help meet their financial and housing goals through mortgages. So, but yeah, just looking to be in the chamber to meet people and network and, hear great speakers like we've had today.
Well, thank you very much for being here, Todd.
Yeah.
And then Scott, would you come off mute and introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, Scott Adler. I am a resident. My wife, who's on here as well, I'll give her a quick shameless plug for Yoga 6. She actually got me involved here. I am in the asset management business, been doing it for over 20 years in a corporate setting. Just recently went out on my own during COVID, no better time to do that, with a couple of friends that have their own shop here and, trying to get out of the chamber, just meeting great folks, doing some networking. Our office is actually on the 217 Tigard area, but I'm planting my flag here in LO, sadly working from home for the most part anyway. Yeah, just looking to grow my network.
Absolutely great. Thank you for joining us. We're about to split into some small networking groups so we can chat a little bit more intimately. I think it's always great to connect with everybody and to make certain we all know what you'd like us to know about you and how we can help you and what you'd like to have be on the top of our mind when we think about you. So in just a second, Liz will put us in these groups. We'll chat briefly and then we'll come back and close it out.
All right, and letting you know that this will put you in a breakout room. Would like to make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak over the about 8 minutes. And if one person will assign themselves within the group to report out when we get back, we'll appreciate that. And I am going to try not to move anybody, but I am going to divide our husband and wife teams this morning. Here we go. All right, Diane and Scott, are those not working for you?
I can hear you.
Okay. Is there an indication on there to move to a room?
I already did, it looks
And
like.
it threw me back to, you're going back to the main. So I don't know
Okay.
where I am at this point.
Okay, let's get Scott to. Oh,
Liz, I can hear and see you. Diane, I can hear and see you. I just see the three of us, though, it looks
But
like.
I don't think we're in a breakout, are we, Liz?
No, I'm going to get you into a breakout. I'm going to get you into breakout room 3, and we're going to get Scott into. Make sure that his wife isn't in that one. Okay. There. All right.
You want to see some spousal fighting?
Yeah. No. We have 3 couples on.
Fantastic.
So,
Oh, more the merrier.
Yeah, that's great. Did that give you a
I'm
group to
still,
join?
I'm still with you guys, just the three of us.
oh, I am too.
Okay, we'll give it one more try. Oh.
Technology doesn't love me.
Yeah, join the club.
Well, maybe we'll become our own group here. Just a moment. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Diane, it says that you should be going to breakout room 3.
Mine said 4 originally, and then I don't know what happened to me.
Yeah, it threw, all of a sudden it screened back, going back to main.
Okay. Diane, are you going to go to, let's see if you go to breakout room. Huh. Okay, I'm going to send you to 3. And let's see if we can get, Scott.
Yeah.
Is it showing you anything?
Mm-mm.
No, it's showing me just you and Scott.
Mm-hmm. Same here. Wait, down on the bottom, join breakout room. Let me go here. Join breakout
Where?
room. You have been assigned to breakout room 3. Let me.
Perfect.
Where's mine? I don't see. Where do you say that at the bottom? I don't see that.
Diane, I'll send it to you one more time.
Okay. Ah, got it.
Got it? Okay,
Yeah.
great. Hey, 30.